Hey, what is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel here, Just Simply Sports with me. I am Kaja, and if you are new to my channel, I welcome you. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and if you're not new, you've been here, I appreciate you. Now, you guys, if you've been following my channel, you already know that I spoke about the situation. I was waiting for Draymond to make a response because Stephen A. did mention that Draymond was one of the players that are no longer speaking to him as a result of what he said about LeBron and about his parenting and about Bronny, the whole situation. And if you know, Stephen A. has always been very outspoken in support of Draymond, especially when he was getting suspended for his on-court antics that some feel like have obviously gone too far many a time. So he finally responded. I'm going to watch it with you guys like I always do, live in real time.
You call Bron weak for stepping to you, but you're taking shots at him as a father on TV behind a camera. Most would say that's weak. And I know he'll say, I'm paid to do that. No, you're paid to analyze. You're paid to debate on the show.
You really paid.
All right, so the clip now of what Stephen A. said about Bronny and about, I'm pleading, I'm begging as a father. How exactly was that a shot? Maybe it is me and I am missing something because I myself am a parent, but LeBron has spoken out about Bronny not as a basketball player first, but more times than not as his son, and he is his son. So I get it from a parent perspective. You're gonna lift your kids up. You're going to put them up, make them feel like they're the best players in the world, as you should. Okay. But I'm asking you as a father, not to do that because of who you are, not because of what Bronny is or isn't doing. It's because of who you are. He's already going to be scrutinized more than most. So we're going to have more eyes on him. He's going to be talked about because he is your son. No one cares whether or not he's good or he's bad. It's truly because he's your son. He's going to always have the eyes on him, the eyes of the masses. And it's already a lot of pressure on his shoulders to even be LeBron James Jr. So I don't see it, and I still don't as a dig. Maybe because I'm not a man. I don't know, but I don't see it that way. Maybe I'm missing something, you guys. Let me know in those comments if I am.
Just say whatever you want to say as far as this game, whether you like it or not. But as a person, you should be lifting him up.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because LeBron is a good dude. He do good shit. He a good dad. His kid made it. They doing some shit. That's historic. You feel what I'm saying? And so you should be lifting him up and talking about the fact that this dude ain't got into no trouble.
Absolutely.
Right? Ain't got into no.
You see, this is how I know that that Baron Davis and Draymond are just on here talking really and truly. Because if you watch First Take, and I happen to watch that show, I've been watching it for years now. I tend not to miss it, and if I do miss it, I have it recorded so I can watch and see what's going on. That and a whole bunch of other shows. Stephen A. did not really talk about Bronny, really and truly. If you watch First Take, then this is, you might say, Koch, you seem like you're being biased. I'm not being biased. I like to err on the side of truth because I watched the show more times than not. He did not really talk about Bronny, especially when he was in high school, even when he was in college, except for when he had the whole cardiac arrest thing. And then, McDonald's All American game, I think he said one or two things about it. And then when he was obviously, he declared for the draft. Okay. But whenever he did speak about him, he has said many a times that he seems like a good kid. He has a great family, that he was rooting for him. He never said anything bad about Bronny's character, not one time. Even LeBron James' character, he's always said and stood 10 toes down on, he's number 2. He's never going to be over Jordan on his list. And that, whoever you ask, you guys might feel differently. You know what I mean? For me, MJ is 1. You might say, no, not even possible because LeBron is 50,000 points and whatever. You know what I mean? But he has never said anything bad about Bronny. He's always said he was a good kid or seemed to be a good kid. So I'm like, what are we talking about here? Really and truly.
Bullshit. But like you bring in, like I would say, the WWE into basketball when you cross that line and talk about somebody's kids. Because if it's my kids, bro, I'm gonna catch you too.
As soon as I said it, I hadn't talked to Bron at all about this. As soon as I saw him say it, Bob was up here that day. And Bob was like, oh, yeah, I work with Stephen A. tomorrow. I'm got y'all game tonight. I'm in the studio tomorrow. Something Stephen A. and I think Malika. And I was like, oh, you make sure you tell Stephen A. that I have zero respect for what he said yesterday.
Draymond, you have Stephen A's number. you guys have both said it, on your podcast. You've mentioned before that you spoke to Stephen A. He said it on the show First Take plenty of times that he's reached out to you. Why are we passing messages through poor Bob Myers, really and truly? If you feel like what he is doing is weak, then how is it what you're doing, passing messages along from one man to another that you can reach out to directly? How is that not weak? I don't know. I know that Draymond is a LeBron. Him and LeBron are close, so I get that he's going to stand 10 toes with his homie. I wouldn't expect any other way. But if you're going to go on here and talk about it and make it a talking point, then at least be honest about the situation and think about how you look in it, because Stephen A has been one of the few people, and I mean few, that has spoken in favor, or should I say in support of Draymond when he had his whole suspension thing and things of that nature. So that's crazy. I'm a Draymond fan, you guys. If you've been here, I've spoken out about Draymond, especially when he got suspended. I'm like, that's too many games. It's a little bit excessive, because no matter what Draymond does, it seems that he can't even breathe on somebody wrong without him being, issued a tech, or without him possibly being suspended for 20 games or more. But I gotta call Draymond out on this, because I'm just like, some things that you're saying, or I'm like, really? Like, what are we talking about here, Draymond? And I say this respectfully because I love Draymond.
And you go on TV calling him out as a father because his son played in the NBA? That's ass backwards. You are on national TV condemning a black man as a father because his son is playing in the NBA. Like, how does that even make sense?
How does what Draymond is saying make sense? I'm like watching this, like, what are we talking about? I'm sorry, you guys, to keep stopping, but to me, I'm like, what are we talking about here, really and truly, Draymond? And we're going to bring the race card into it. And I know that racism exists, and I understand that we're black, we should stick with one another. But again, like, how did he condemn him as a father? He never said anything about him being a bad father, that he has awful kids. His kid, Bronny's trash, would never be a good NBA. Like, I don't understand what we're talking about here. And you're bashing him or condemning him, in Draymond's words, because he's an NBA player. What are we talking about here? Like, are we really going to pretend like Bronny is not going to be talked about, even once Bron retires, because simply of who his dad is? I'm so tired of hearing, oh, well, he's the 55th pick. No one's talking about anybody else who got drafted in the second round or whatever have you. He's not the only one. It doesn't freaking matter. He's the only one who was LeBron James Jr. He's going to be talked about. He's an NBA player. He's going to be talked about like the rest of the NBA players. It didn't matter if he went number 1 overall. He could have went 16th. He could have went 38th, 55th, 76th. It does not matter. He is going to be talked about as LeBron James' son. There's no way around it. And when you put your son out there, although I understand why you want to lift him up, I understand it, but you put him out there and you said he's better than half of the NBA players currently playing right now. Really and truly. He's playing in more NBA games than half the G League, and at the time, he was not ready. He needed more time to develop.
So I think it's pretty whack that y'all find time to talk about the 55th draft pick. The only picks I can name right off the top of my mind that was 55th pick or lower was Manu Ginobili and Isaiah Thomas. You can't even name a 55th draft pick.
But they didn't get no steam until they started killing.
To see them just going at this man as a father. This man said, LeBron, you need to stop. As a father, you need to stop. What? Huh? And then you throw out the excuse like, well, he the one said that Bronny is better than NBA players. You name me what parent don't think their kid is better than everybody. Like, that is a common thing for parents that's in sport.
It is one thing to think that your kid is better. It's another thing to support your kid. Obviously, as a parent, I am a parent, you should. But it is different when you are LeBron James, and that was Stephen A's point. You are not a regular mere NBA player. You are not. So whenever you go ahead and tweet, although you would like, maybe from Draymond's perspective, it seems like we should look at Bronny a little bit different. We should look at LeBron like any old parent. He's not. And I don't understand why Draymond, even LeBron, seems like he doesn't get this. It's like, what kind of tone deaf? Like, you know who you are. You're a freaking billionaire. You have 50,000 points in the NBA. You've been playing for over 2 decades. You look better than half of the youngins playing, really and truly. And that's with respect and the utmost respect to LeBron and Draymond, of course. Again, I said I'm a fan of Draymond, so it's no shade at all. But why are we acting as if like LeBron is some regular kid? Like, if Tom Brady's son, obviously he's the GOAT. If Tom Brady's son was a quarterback or whatever have you, and certain things happen happen the same way. Like they're going to be looking at his son, and he does have a son. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's going to play football or what, but if he plays QB specifically, given who his dad is, oh, you better believe they're going to be looking at him, seeing what he's doing, what he's not doing. They're going to have more eyes on him. This is what comes with it when you're in the media. And when you keep putting your son out there as your son, not as an NBA player. As an NBA player, LeBron has to know his son is not raised an NBA player. At the time, he has to know that. He's gotten better as of right now. But at the time that it happened, like as a NBA player, because you have a high IQ, been playing over 2 decades, you have to know that your son as an NBA player, not as your son, but as an NBA player, was not ready. He needed more time to develop. Period and period. Forget the father side of it. And I think that because obviously that is his son, it's kind of hard to kind of separate son from NBA player. And I get it myself. Again, as a parent, I get it. But I don't know what this whole notion is. Like, we're not talking about any 55th pick. We're not talking about other kids. We're not talking Scottie Pippen Jr., right? I just read like a day ago that he's going to change his name. It seems like he wants to forge his own path. You know what I mean? Let's not forget when Clutch, before the draft or during the draft, process, they were like, if you draft Bronny, he's not going to play there. You're never going to find him. Okay? Nobody should be drafting him. Obviously, want him to go to the Lakers to play with his dad. So when you intervene and you do all these things, it gives people more talking points to talk about Bronny and about whether or not he deserved it or didn't deserve it. And it's not no fault of his own, obviously. You know what I mean? But again, when you do things like that, people are going to talk about it. You guys may not like it, but I don't know if you guys have been watching the G League. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Quincy Oliveri. I'm looking at Quincy Oliveri, and if you watch some of the games that he played in one NBA game. He put like in one or two like preseason games. If you look at him, he was clearly better than Bronny, you guys. Let's just cut the crap. Okay, he was better than him. He's more developed than him. But for some reason, he got waived. Why is that? Why is that? More time for Bronny, more time for develop, more eyes, and the focus is not going to be on anybody else. It's going to be on Bronny because when Quincy was there, obviously Quincy was the one that was pretty much getting all the shine, rightfully so, because he was I think he is, even still now, the better player yet, and still he got waived. So once again, when you do stuff like that and you're behind it, whether or not you want to admit it, people are going to talk about you. Let's stop pretending like we don't know what's going on. He's just a regular kid, a regular dad. You are not. You might want to be, but the fact is that you're not, and Draymond has to know that.
We all think our kid is better than what they are. That is the nature of the beast. My mama thought I was better than what I was. That is the nature of a parent in sports. But to go on TV and say, you need to stop it as a father, then go and he stepped to you about that and then say it's weak on TV. Because the demeanor in person was like, that was demeanor in person. Yeah. But then on TV, you go, oh, that was bullshit. It's like weak. Like, come on, man. So that's why he said Draymond ain't talking to me.
He was gonna fix his suit.
Yeah, like that's why he said Draymond ain't talking to me. And it's not that, I don't have much to say to that. Like, also reach out to that man and talk to him after somebody say something to you because you know you're wrong. So reach out to that man and talk to you, but he didn't. You didn't reach out and talk to him. That's weak. That's what we call weak. Where I'm from.
What was T supposed to say? I don't know, man. You guys could call me crazy in the comments. You could say, Kaja, girl, you biased, you crazy, and give me a side. I would love to hear it respectfully, of course. But Stephen A is at a game. He had just signed an $100 million contract. He's sitting there with I forgot the names of people he was sitting there with. Obviously, Stephen A is black. He's sitting there with two white folks. You cannot sit there and act all hood, ratchet, and ghetto. And given those confinements and circumstances, you guys, let's call a spade, okay? If Stephen A would have been like, yo, what's good? What's up? Who you talking to? He would have been cursing back at him. How's it going to look? How's it going to look? Stephen A's talking politics. He's meeting with Candace Owens. He's on the Late Night Show, like all these different things. He's trying to move into a different space. He cannot get ghetto and hood and thug-like or whatever have you in that kind of setting with all those people around it. I mean, come on. Who are we really kidding? We act like we don't know that. Like, really and truly, and LeBron, obviously, he's bigger than Stephen A. He's not. Stephen A is smaller. I mean, no matter what happened, even if Stephen A had bucked up to LeBron, he was going to be at that man's chest. looking like his kid. I mean, there was not really much that he could do. So after I spoke to you or you approached me, I'm supposed to then call you when you could have called me to begin with if you felt some kind of way. Stephen A. and Rich Paul talk. I don't know if they're friends or not, but Rich Paul has been on his podcast. He's very familiar with his sisters and his family, Stephen A.'s family, that is. So there's a relationship there where he could have reached out and spoken to him. I understand why he approached him publicly because he said it publicly. But Stephen A. couldn't do but so much. And I mean, what's it look like fighting Braun in the middle of the third quarter of a game? LeBron approached Stephen A. specifically because he wanted to send a message to the media. I get it. Stop talking about me and my family or whatever have you. He could have just said that in an interview. He could have said it on a podcast. He could have said it on his Twitter. But you approach Stephen A. knowing that he's older, knowing that he's smaller. Where was that same smoke when Jaylen Brown said outright he's not an NBA player? He's not. So if we're going to protect our kids and don't talk about my kid, whatever have you, keep the same smoke for everybody that talks about Bronny is what I'm saying. To me, that's a little bit weak. It drives me crazy, you guys. I don't even want to talk about this no more. It's my last time talking about it. I just wanted to hear Draymond's response. And now that I've heard it, I've heard enough. Okay. What do you guys think about this whole situation? I'm curious to read your comments. Let me know your perspective. If you feel like I'm wrong, let me know what I'm missing here because I'm not seeing it this way. And maybe if you guys let me know something different in the comments, maybe you will enlighten me and I'll be like, okay, you got it. Maybe I see where LeBron is coming from. But right now, I do not get it, you guys. Let me know in those comments. And of course, I will see you in the next video.